All right, team, good day. So, what we're going to do first is actually discuss part of their series that we're going to discuss our Get Better Faster, see it, name it, do it model of coaching is to start first with understanding what are the action steps or what are the, so to speak, things that we need in order for us to be able to coach our other teachers, right? So, what I would like to do first is go through the actual Get Better Faster scope and sequence of what it is all about. So, as we know, every time that we observe a class or we go into a class, there's always two parts to a class. There's the management side, and then there is the instruction side or the rigor trajectory, what they call rigor trajectory. You will see both of this in a classroom setting. The question really becomes is which one is more important for us to give feedback on that will give us the most leverage for our time. Okay, so these are the, so to speak, the top action steps that we can use when we are coaching our teachers. But what we are going to do first is just understand what they are. So you know that these are the different phases that we have are actually more of like where the teacher stands in the particular continuum of the 90 to 60-day cycle. Okay, so phase one are all these things right here. So if you are going to focus on the classroom management side or trajectory, if you feel that that is where the source of or the source of the problem is for that teacher or where we can use our best leverage or bang for our buck, so to speak, these are the different specific action steps that you can use. Okay, if you are seeing a couple things that we will discuss when to use these, okay, because these specific action steps have what we call our leverage points, right, on how we can utilize them the best way and when to do so. And so we do have it here also on this side. If you are focusing on the instruction or the rigor trajectory, these are the specific action steps that we will use when we coach our teachers. Okay, so these go hand in hand with each other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out just a bit so that we can see it. Okay, so routines and procedures 101, strong voice. Those are specific action steps that we could potentially use if we see a certain type of uh, challenge in a classroom, if we see that, or if we see the rigor or the instruction is lacking, or where we feel the most bang for our buck is to coach our teacher, we can go this side. In a few moments, I'm going to switch our workbook or our resource to discuss the different ways or the different specific action that we can take should we see certain behavioral characteristics in a classroom. But if in the meantime, what I want to do is get you guys familiarized with the scope and sequence. So this is what we're going to use. In essence, this is our cheat sheet right here. All of these are our cheat sheet, the specific things that we can, has been suggested that we can use. Our phase two, so there are three phases, phase one, phase two, and phase three. Okay. And again, you guys will each have a copy of this. I will make sure that you guys have a copy of this. And then secondly, so in this point, if you feel that, hey, we are now on phase two of this teacher is now in the phase two of the continuum. In other words, they're past this side, we're the basics. Okay, so now they're here, and if they just have certain challenges or what we feel we can coach them on, then we can use these uh, action steps right here. But in essence, this is how we're going to use the Get Better Faster scope and sequence. Now, so let's go to the actual when are we going to use it. So this right here is again a our code or cheat sheet code in essence, right? So when do we use this? So for example, If we notice or we observe in the classroom that the teacher does not have clear routines established for the classroom, then we know that we need to have a plan and practice routines, procedures, moment by moment, which would mean, therefore, that if this is the problem we see, then we know that we have to go back and start with this side right here. Okay, this is the first step that we are going to coach the teacher on. Now, we're going to have to go back to the concept of a waterfall or the root. We use the term waterfall because waterfall is the key to identifying when we're coaching is we have to identify where is the source of the problems that we are seeing, and we need to get there. That way we can fix the issue from the top, so that way when it trickles back down, then we know we've kind of fixed the problem from the very beginning. So that is the waterfall concept analogy that the Get Better Faster model uses. So when we hear waterfall, that means that we are looking for the source of the problem. Okay, and that's where we're going to begin. So when we are discussing, again, we'll discuss certain details later for that, but again, that's what we have right here. So for example, another one is if you see a routine for new students beginning of the year, or we have to change with a new routine, then we may have to go with plan and practice the rollout. So those are the things, plan and practice a rollout. So we go back to routines and procedures 101. Those are the things that we have right here. These is what falls into routines and procedures 101. If we see that the issue is we have to use strong voice, if we see that the problem is where an example would be a teacher is, leadership presence by slouching, shifting foot to foot, things of that nature, then we can just fix that by standing up straight. We can, give our teachers some coaching feedback on that sense. Again, it goes back to this one. Now, if we see, when do we use our developed lesson plans 101? When we see that lesson objectives are not data driven, are not manageable or measurable. These are the things that we can use. Again, I don't want to belabor each one on this. What I would like to do is show you guys how to utilize the tools that we have. This is the basic steps that we have. Again, these are the two big cheat sheets that we will have, okay? This one, the reference guide, along with this, okay? This Get Better Faster Scope and Sequence, okay? So let's go ahead and go through that one more time. There are 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Again, these are all the top action steps that we use. Then there's 2 trajectories in a classroom all the time. There's a management trajectory, meaning if we're going to focus on the classroom procedures in the class, and there's always going to be the rigor trajectory, which means that we're dealing with the actual lesson planning, or the actual instruction in that side. So again, those 2 things, depending on where we are able to see it, meaning see it means identify where the problem is, then we can determine, so to speak, our prescription, in terms of how we are going to help coach the teacher attack the problem. So it's almost like in essence, we're identifying what the problem is, and then we're trying to give solutions or give ideas to fix the problem. And how are we going to use that? By utilizing our coaching guide, and we can definitely see the little telltale signs of what we're going to use if we see certain problems. Okay. All right. So that concludes the first part of the series that we have, just familiarizing ourselves with our lesson, with the tools that we have.